Welcome to Lykken on Lending, the podcast that dives deep into the heart of the mortgage industry. Your host, David Lykken, bringing you the latest insights, trends, and updates from the world of mortgages. Whether you're a seasoned industry veteran or just getting started, this show is your go-to source for all things mortgage. Let's get started. This is Lykken on Lending. Now your host, David Lykken.
Listeners, it's time for another AI update, and we've got Pavan back with some really interesting information. But folks, this guy is such a world traveler. We got to get caught up first on where have you been and what have you been doing? Saudi Arabia, Riyadh, Pavan.
Yeah, just got back from Saudi Arabia. Then after that, I went to Dallas. I'm here. So Saudi Arabia, got home for 2 days. Dallas for the North American Blockchain Summit. I'm just excited. The world is changing so fast. And if you're not up to date on blockchain, crypto, AI, you're going to miss the boat. And where this stuff is happening, it's not, I'm sorry to say, it's not happening at the MBA convention. The future is not at the MBA convention. No, it's not a slam on the MBA.
No, there's so much happening, and it's really significant. Talk about what the Saudis had you over there for, because that was really significant. They're seeing the value of this. And I think how many things do we start in a country and then another country sees the value in it, they jump on it before we here at home jump on it.
Chat is an example of invented in America, but commercialized and is abroad. So, you know, last time we talked about the conversation that Eric Schmidt, the founder of Google, had, where it said that traditional user interfaces, Windows user interfaces, are dead. The rest of the world had figured that out over 10 years ago. Right? WeChat runs all of China, okay? And you tap your phone and all your payments are done. So if you don't have a WeChat account and everything you want done, you send a quick message and it's done, right? And that's the most convenient way. It's a short little text message, you send to WeChat, everything is done. But it's only America where that's not the case. It's in China, it's in India, it's in Japan, it's in South Korea. The rest of the world had figured out that chat is the future of all commerce. And we're talking about 2013, 2015, and WeChat had taken over China. And you tap your phone and you made all your payments. You tap your phone, you transferred the money from one account to the other account. Right? You send a little chat, you open up WeChat, send a little chat message, everything got done from brief 2 seconds. Nobody wants to pick up the phone and be on hold and wait for an agent. If you could do that with a quick message, and nobody wants to navigate through a long web page, you just want to say the most natural interface for human beings is to just say, give me my loan approval. The most natural interface for every human being is to say, hey, fund my loan. Or here's my bank statements, here's my pay stub. That's how human beings want to do it. They don't want to go click 100 buttons, be on hold for 30 minutes or whatever. They just say, what's the price today? What's the difference between FHA and conventional? What if I put more down payment? It should be your brain. What you desire should be driving the computer, not what the computer desires. All right. So the traditional web interfaces, the Windows basic interfaces, were driven by what was convenient to the developer of those platforms. When you flip it around and you make it AI driven, right? The AI is now your servant. You're the master. The AI is the servant, right? Because the AI is ambidextrous, right? And it can do whatever you ask it to do. It's not rigid. So it is driven on your satisfaction. So chat is really the only way. It's the only thing that's going to exist in the future is a chat-based interface. And chat comes in many forms. It could be voice, it could be conversation, it could be video, like we have with AI Twin. There could be voice and video, but it's still fundamentally if you lift the cover, it's all chat. It's short messages going back and forth, right? And essentially,
which is the way the relationships run in the real life. And so it's not surprising that it's working everywhere else. And it's really only now catching on here in America. We say chat's been around for a while. Yes, it has, but not to the degree that where you can do all the transactions. That's the part. It's the transactional components of chat.
Correct.
Overseas with the we.
Correct. It's pretty much in every other country except America. And the problem isn't Americans. Americans want it also, especially anyone that's 30 and younger. They definitely want it because they hate being on the phone. They just want to send a quick chat message and be done with. And the median home buyer age is something like 30 or 35. So if you're building applications that aren't directed to that demographic, you're going to miss out. Okay, so that goes full circle as to why Saudi Arabia invited us to Riyadh, is because the banks there understand that if they continue to do business in the traditional manner, the old tech manner, which is, when I went to one of the banks and I walked in and it looked just like an American bank. We had a huge floor, rows and rows of cubicles of people on the phone and the computer clicking away. And they're like, and the top bank executive looked at me and said, "We don't want this. We don't want to repeat your mistakes. Our customers, the Saudis, are demanding to just do it over chat. They don't want to have to go through the hassle of having to explain something over the phone to a human being." And especially when it comes to finance, because nobody wants the embarrassment and having to deal with another human being saying, "Oh, is that all you make?" Or "Where do you work?" The whole thing about potentially disapproving of your lifestyle, right? Whereas if you're chatting, that is eliminated, especially if you're chatting with an AI. So the rest of the world's figured out. They literally said, "I don't care what it takes. We want Angel AI in Saudi Arabia. We want it for our bank. You just get it implemented because our customers, we want to be the first bank and the only bank in Saudi Arabia to have this end-to-end solution that's completely AI, and we're going to dominate the market." The banks I was talking to, they already have 70% of the mortgage market. They want to make sure that it stays that way. That's what's going on in Saudi Arabia. And it's not just Saudi Arabia. In Riyadh, we met with the top banking leaders and investment houses from Qatar and also from the UAE. They're saying the same thing. This is the future. Right? And this is what we want. We don't want to be stuck in the past. There's this, I think American businesses have gotten complacent. And like I was saying, it's not the fault of Americans. They want it as well. But American businesses, they're so used to being on the top of the food chain, think they can just not have to be the most competitive, right? They're forgetting to put the customer first, right? And they're not paying attention to what the customer is asking them for. Right? The customer wants the ease and simplicity of, hey, 2 seconds, send a quick command, and then my request is fulfilled. That's what a customer wants. But that means a full reinvention of who they are. Whereas other countries, it's a blank slate with them. They're essentially starting from scratch, especially Saudi Arabia. They just opened up the country, and it's effective January. For the first time ever, non-Saudis can buy real estate just about anywhere in Saudi Arabia. Right,
really?
So complete open. They're going from completely closed to completely open at warp speed, and that's why they had the comedy festival. That's unheard of to have a comedy festival in Saudi Arabia where complete open conversation, and you can and you're allowed to make fun of anything, including the royalty, including the royal family. Russell Peters was there, who's by the way one of our partners, a great spokesperson, and we went to his show, and he was there, and you had the royal family right there in the front row, and he was making fun of the royal family. They were laughing. They were enjoying the process. It's good leadership when you can make fun of yourself, when you can take things in stride.
When you can laugh at yourself, there's a strength and a confidence in it. That's amazing. Yeah. That's an amazing story. But I would remind our listeners that are listening to this that at the core of Angel AI, it's based on chat, and you continue to enhance it and work on that. And a lot of people say, "Yeah, but it's not this data entry like that." No, that's not what the next generation wants. Who's buying homes in the next generation? It's the ones that want to chat. Yeah. So you've got the advantage, right? One of the things I want to talk about in this podcast today is the regulatory environment, where billions of dollars have been assessed to institutions because of errors. Jamie Dimon once said, "Mortgage business is a lousy business. I don't want to be in it," in part because of the penalties, the regulatory. The more you make, if you have a good year, it's like the DOJ, at least under the Obama administration, was going back. That's a great place to start taxing them through these regulations. But you went through an experience at the same time. This started, I'm looking at your report that you sent over to me. It's a list of all the money that was paid out from, I think it was 2015 2015 all the way through 2019. It's multiple billions and billions of dollars. They went after everybody. It was indiscriminate. They went across the landscape looking for errors, what was going on. And you had an exception where everyone else is getting penalized in the millions to the hundreds of millions to the billions. You got a letter of commendation of what an amazing job you're doing.
What?
Talk about why that was and what you saw. And this is important, listeners, because everyone thinks we got the Trump administration, they're going easy on regulations. Don't be living in that. We still have a regulatory body, and they're going to be coming after those that are not doing it right. And so it's so important that we be compliant and doing it now with chat, but being compliant. But those that don't are going to be paying a price. Pavan, what did you learn out of that 2015 to 2019 period with your technology?
Yeah. First thing, we didn't get a letter of accommodation. The Office of the Inspector General does not do that. They just went away.
But they did pay you a compliment. I didn't say I said a letter. I didn't mean to say a letter. But anyway, you got to. They came back.
They just quietly went away. They said, "Okay, you're fine." They don't say anything. They just
a commendation right there.
And fine. There's something called the False Claims Act. It's an old, like a 150-year-old act that was written during the Civil War to find people who were cheating the U.S. government during wartime for military sales to the U.S. government. They got smart about applying that act to other parts of the economy over the last 20 years. They went after defense companies, then they went after the banking industry. And the way they went after the banking, especially the mortgage lending industry, the way they went after the mortgage lending industry was they'd issue a subpoena, and they would ask you for a report of all the production you've ever done or over a certain time period. And then they would randomly select roughly 100 files. In our case, they selected 200 files, 100 forward and 100 reverse, 100 forward mortgages and 100 reverse mortgages, home equity conversion mortgages. So 200 files they selected. And what they normally do is they take this random sample across a wide range of years, and they have then these forensic auditors go through it, like a whole massive team of forensic auditors go through it document by document to find something that was done that didn't meet the guidelines, that didn't meet the FHA regs. Okay, and if they find a document that's out of place, then they mark that file as defective. Okay, so what was happening is all those that list. There's so many people that were hit. That was from fines from as much as $1 billion to $30 million, $20 million, $50 million. So what they would do is
the biggest one I'm seeing on here, I think it's $7.2 billion to Deutsche Bank. That's staggering.
It's incredible. Yeah. So what they would do then is they said, okay, let's say we audited 100 files, and we found 75% were defective. Okay, and then they say, okay, 75% of the files, you have a defect rate of 75%. That means 75% of the claims that we've ever paid out never should have been paid out. Okay, and then so they take a look at the claims they paid out that they paid out and what they expect to pay out, right, in the future, and they take 75% of that dollar amount, and then they put there's treble damages in that act, and they times 3. And then they give you a bill that's potentially in the billions of dollars and say, okay, you owe the U.S. government this much money. So that's the quick skinny on the False Claim Act and how it works. Okay, and that's why those penalties were so massive and they collected so much money. Okay, so they were sending these subpoenas out across the industry to basically every major lender, and we obviously are a major lender. And however, in our case, and I think we're the only ones that had this, where they audited 200 loans, 100 reverse and 100 forward, and the time period was from 2008 to 2014. Okay, and they were astonished because there was 0 defects.
So that was because
literally 0. So 0 times. So that means that that was their process. 0 defects. Though we don't owe them any money, and they went away. You don't get a pat in the back. They don't even say good job. They just go away.
The fact that they write you a letter or just go away is a commendation as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, I'm going to stick to it was a commendation.
No commendation. They just say, thank you very much. Thank you for your time. And they go on to the next guy.
But still there was a cost. I mean, what did you say you had to spend $2 million in
yeah,
fees
because I mean, it's a subpoena from the federal government. So you get a whole army of attorneys. They, beyond just auditing the files, they interview almost every employee. They subpoena all the emails, they read through everything. It's an extensive investigation.
Wow.
They
walked away and did not find you anything, right. And you're one of the few that
I don't know of anyone else who's gone through that and had zero defects. I don't think it's possible. And we had conversations with them.
Was that because I'm going to be devil's advocate for a minute? Is that because your underwriting is so conservative and you guys are so tight?
No.
That I know it's a rhetorical question. Yeah. The answer is I know you. I used to sell loans to you guys. I know that you guys were reasonable in your underwriting. Yeah.
No, actually, we were doing some of those years. We were doing like $2 billion, $3 billion of production a month, and there was also the reverse mortgages covered the biggest years. The years that we did the biggest amounts of reverse production, like over 100 million per month reverse production, which is huge for reverse. And so it covers some of our biggest production months, and that's what they were after, because they'd only come after you if you were doing a lot of production, right? Because they figured there's a lot of money there. And the reason they didn't find anything because Angel AI as a brand, as a complete end-to-end product, went into full production. End-to-end meaning from the chat interface that we just talked about to where you could run the whole loan origination process right from the chat interface, where consumer can talk to the chat all the way through closing, right? That complete end-to-end connection was put into production in 2019. Okay, however, the core engine, the core underwriting engine, the AI underwriting the loan files, that has existed for years, right? So the loans that we did in 2008, 2006, 2007, they were all underwritten. All those HECM loans, all those reverse mortgages, and most of those forward mortgages from that time period were all underwritten by the AI, okay? And so what does the AI do? The AI has digested all of the guidelines, okay? Right? It's trained on the entire 4000.1, or back then it was 4155, and it's trained on all the mortgagee letters. It's trained on all the Ginnie Mae guidelines, trained on everything. It's all there, right? So when a document comes in, it can't get it wrong because it's a computer doing it. It's not a human. Computers, if it's trained properly, it's not going to make those kinds of mistakes, right? And every single one of our appraisals were underwritten perfectly. It's not a matter of whether it's conservative or not conservative. It's a matter of, is it right or not, okay? And because the guidelines are black and white. Is it there? Is it not there? And it's that simple, right? And so the tech works, and it's been in place for years. And we talk about, we've done 35 billion since 2019 on Angel AI. That's 35 billion since 2019, where it was end-to-end Angel AI. But if I actually go back to 2006, right? And it was in 2006 where we sent out a press release that we announced the world's first automated underwriting reverse mortgage engine. Okay, it was literally, our technology was the first reverse mortgage automated underwriting engine. Right? That was back in 2006. And it's because of that automated underwriting that happened, the reverse mortgage underwriting completely by the machine, right? That they didn't find, the government, when they did the audit and the investigation, not a single loan they found that was underwritten incorrectly. It's the difference between producing an automobile with robots or producing it by hand. If you produce it with robots, you're going to have a higher quality automobile. It's not going to have production line defects. Right?
Yep. Elon has been proving that with the Tesla for years now, and they keep improving and improving. So you have continued to do that. I think the reason I wanted to bring this up, listeners, is because as we're facing, it might be a little bit easier in the regulatory environment we're at, but we're still dealing with a highly complex transaction with lots of areas where something can break because of the human element. We have got to be using AI more and more, integrated wholly and completely into our manufacturing process. Pavan, kudos to you and your success and building an amazing technology and what you're doing. Now you're at blockchain. Now you're talking, where does this all go with blockchain? Let's fast forward into what the world looks like.
I'd say let's go through a time machine. Right, we're going through a time machine. We're falling down this time machine, and it's 2030 now, 5 years later. And AI and blockchain is ubiquitous. It's everywhere. Everyone has an Angel wallet installed. Everyone has Angel AI installed on their phone. Everyone's transacting with stable coins. And in your wallet, you have in your decentralized blockchain wallet, you have multiple assets in there. You have US dollars, you have your securities, you have Bitcoin, you have Ethereum, you have gold, right? So you're managing you're your own central bank. And you're controlling all that in your wallet. Okay. And then you have your AI on top of it that's helping you optimize so that you get the highest possible return, highest yield on the assets. You have your assets and your debts all in one wallet, and the AI is optimizing it for the best return, right? That means maybe moving some money from dollars to gold, or gold to equities, or moving into Bitcoin or out of Bitcoin, or whatever it is. That it's gonna find the highest return for you possible, right? There's so many people who have a mountain of credit card debt, and they're paying 18% credit card, and they have $50,000 in the bank that they're earning 0.1%, right? Right. So you have $50,000 earning 0.1% in an environment where the 10-year Treasury is at 4.25. Number one, that's crazy. You should be earning 4.25 on that $50,000. Number two, why don't you take the $50,000 and pay off your 18% credit card debt, and that's how you start saving money.
Yep.
And most people either don't know, don't understand these things, or no. That's number one. Number two, don't have the time to think about it, and they don't know how to regulate.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
It's just like there's so many things going on in life. Life is hard, and you don't have time to think about these things. Let the AI think about it. AI is take the 1,000 top economists of the world, take all of their intelligence, put it in one place, and that's the AI. So you can't get anything smarter than the AI because it's the collective intelligence of the best economists, best traders.
Collective intelligence,
right?
Yeah.
And not only that, but it's a machine, so it can in a microsecond run all the scenarios, all the trading options, right, and all the predictive trading options for you, and then say this is the best position for you to have. Okay, so that's what 2020 or 2030 looks like, and what it also means is with stablecoin being ubiquitous. That means you could fund your loan. You can buy your house 24/7. You don't have to wait for wires to get cleared. You literally can send stablecoins across and purchase your home. There's no need for a closing agent because a blockchain smart contract is controlling the escrow deposit, the repair escrow, all of these things, the seller and the buyer disbursement, the commission disbursements. It's all being controlled by a single smart contract on chain. So you could literally fund your transaction 24/7. The cost of title insurance goes down to a fraction of what it is because the risk is gone. Right? The largest risk in the title insurance process is the closing protection letter. And if a smart contract is controlling the closing and your money's all held on chain, right? There's no need for a closing protection letter. Right? And that's 90% of the risk a title company carries. So that's eliminated. At the end of the day, $180 billion a year in economics and in cost is sucked out of the economy every year because of the lack of blockchain technology, because people don't trust each other, and you have to go through all these intermediaries who take large fees along the way. So you're talking about $180 billion to $200 billion annually is lost out of the pockets of hardworking Americans, and is being lost into this ether, and where it should be going back into the pockets of consumers. Think of how much more efficient we become as a country when that money is put back into people's pockets so they can go back into consuming, paying for education, paying for their medical needs, and so forth.
That is a great point, Pavan. The future is coming on us so fast, and the way you've built this system, for those that are not moving towards this or involved in this, are they already dead? Do we have the Walking Dead scenario going?
Well, I don't know if I should go down that path, but I would say you can't ignore it. Yeah. Right. You can't ignore it. You can't ignore it. You could probably get away for another year or two of ignoring it, but it's it.
Yeah.
And customers customers want two things, right? They want convenience and value. And they're going to hit the easy button every single time. Whatever button gives them the most convenience and most value is what they're going to hit. And guess what? 24/7 transactions, 24/7 answers, perfect products being produced robotically, right? Answers when they want them, answers they could rely on, right? No need to worry about conflicts of interest, right? No embarrassment by talking to bankers who may or may not eat, and you don't know if a banker has your best interest at heart or not, right? So you eliminate all of this inconvenient, all of this cost from the process. Guess what? What are consumers going to do? They're going to hit the button that's
Over the easy button.
greatest value and most convenient. Right, they're going to hit the easy button. We saw this in the mortgage industry in the 90s where people were saying, oh, no one's going to ever do a mortgage on the internet. Oh. Yeah, where did that end up?
Yeah.
I was there. It was like, I used to go to the MBA all the time, and 90% of people would say, oh, that's a nice little fancy idea, but no one's going to ever do mortgages on the internet. I call BS on that. And today it's the same thing. No one's going to do, the common thing is no one's going to ever do a mortgage by AI, entirely by AI. No one's going to chat for their mortgage. No.
They will.
Guess what? The rest of the world, that's there, right? The difference is that the industries are entrenched in the U.S., and they're trying to set the agenda that they're trying to tell the consumers, no, you don't need value. You don't need convenience. You need to pay us because you don't need value and convenience. That's the mindset of U.S. companies right now. It's just self-preservation with a dash of arrogance, right? Whereas the rest of the world is so hungry to say we could do it better. The rest of the world is so hungry to catch up and exceed the U.S. that they're driven to find better solutions. Their companies are driven to find better solutions, and the people are driven to find better solutions. And saying, yeah, look, we are going to rise and we're going to do it better than America is doing. We love America. We love the culture. We love everything about Americans. And the kind of interesting thing is, if you're an American in the Middle East and you speak like an American, you get a lot of respect because they just love America so much. But at the same time, because they look up to America, they're so motivated to show they can do it better than America. So they got a fire that we're going to show that we can do better than America, just out of national pride. Right? So we need some of that national pride back in America, saying, no, we're going to stay number one. And we're going to innovate and come up with better ideas than everyone else. Right? And we're not going to stick with the status quo.
And you're doing that.
Otherwise, color TVs are going to be taken over by Sony. Remember, the transistor was invented in America. But the inventor of the transistor didn't get any traction here. And Sony bought the idea. How silly is that?
Yeah, there's so many stories.
Right, the microchip, Texas Instrument was a giant in manufacturing microchips. Microchips were invented in America, but who's the greatest producer of microchips today? It's TSMC in Taiwan. Yeah. Why do we let these things happen?
You ought to run for office. It's starting to sound like a stump speech there with what you're saying. It's really true. It's actually true. And it's been so good to have you back talking about this stuff. There are so many moving pieces to this, but you are so far out ahead of everyone. It is really encouraging to see the example that you're setting. It's not too late for others to get involved. But today we covered the regulatory side of it, how expensive it can be when you do it wrong. And then here you are through the same environment, skate through, and they just packed up and says, good job, you're doing it. Keep up the good work, and left, no penalties. That's a pretty profound statement. Thanks for being here, Pavan. Enjoy the time. It was good watching social media. I'm seeing you were with Governor Abbott yesterday. You work with world leaders, and now you're meeting here with our Texas governor. That's pretty amazing. I love it.
Governor Abbott, he's such a great guy, and he really cares. And he listens. Really he listens. He listens because he's smart. And in that room, there was about 8 or 10 of us, and it was a wide variety of people. And we talked everything from energy production to blockchain, to obviously lending practices that I was talking about, to education, right? And he was an expert in every area. Like, he got it. I'm like, wow, the guy knows everything. That's what makes him so smart. It's like, how does he possibly know it. He knows all of it, and he integrates it all together. The guy is just off the chart smart.
Yeah, it was fun seeing you meeting with our governor. Thanks for being here, Pavan. Have a great rest of your conference. We look forward to getting you back here next week and give us an update on the blockchain conference. Thank you, friend.
Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers. Listeners, this AI update was brought to you by our sponsor, Angel AI. Be sure to check them out on our website, or you can go to their website directly and start using it by going to Angel AI or askangel.ai or check it out at angelai.com. Thank you. You can subscribe and share this podcast.
You've been listening to Lykken on Lending. Our passion is to bring you the latest insights, trends, and updates from the world of mortgages. So on this show, if you're a seasoned industry veteran or just getting started, it's your go-to source for all things mortgage. We hope you've enjoyed the show. We'll be back soon. Take care, and we'll see you next time on Lykken on Lending.